Designers do a lot of mistakes. When you analyze the reasons for these mistakes, one of the biggest reasons is that they're not focusing on the problem. They're not focusing on what needs to be solved. They're not focusing on the business objectives that the client is trying to achieve. When you're not focusing on these things, your design doesn't solve a problem. Hi all, my name is Rasika Mahansiri and welcome to the Tier 1 UX Designer YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about these mistakes and the reasons, and I'm going to point out what happens when you're not focusing on the problem. Now, this design came to my attention through LinkedIn. It's a case study that was written by a bunch of people. Awesome job. Kudos to everybody. I'm not trying to humiliate you. I'm just trying to point out certain errors that you have done. First of all, let me give a brief introduction to the problem that these people are trying to solve. If you look at this one, the project overview, they have clearly mentioned that Coco is a global technology company that creates embedded microchips for the pet care industry. So this particular chip goes underneath the skin of the pets, and the owner of the pet can monitor and respond to their pet status or health. That is the business case here. So basically they have a chip and they have a mobile app, and that chip transform information to that mobile app so that the owners can see what's going with their pet. If you look at this, they have identified three problems. One is owners can't predict pets' health conditions since they don't understand them. They always wanted to make sure their pet is healthy. And the number two problem, scheduling doctor appointments in traditional way, is very time wasting. And with the busy schedule, owners have trouble of remembering them. And number three, owners forget their pets' daily food and water intake, and owners have to always go to shop and buy their pets necessary products. I kind of doubt whether this is a valid problem, but that's not the case here. Somehow they have identified these three different problems to solve with these applications. Now let's go and see how the design looks. Now they have gone through certain processes and everything. I'm not going to walk you through all these things, but the end result, if you look at this particular screen, we have this awesome little dog, and you have shown certain things like 5,547 steps, 38 degrees of temperature, 543 calories, 130 BPM, 24 meters away. All these things are there, and if you scroll down a little bit here, you will see that the vet nearby, the treats, and everything is in this screen. Here they have mentioned that the profile and the timer. I'm not quite sure what this timer is supposed to do here because they have not explained it clearly as I could see it. But now, do you think that this design will get the approval from the product owner? I highly doubt it. Why? Because the main problem, the owner needs to see whether their pet is healthy. Does that problem solved in this design? No. It shows certain vitals, but as a pet owner, I don't know whether my pet is healthy. I have to know certain particulars about the pet's vitals to transform this information and justify or judge rather whether my pet is healthy. So the designer is unable to solve the problem here. Now what we need to do in this particular case is, okay, these are the vitals, but show me whether it's healthy or not. That indication, he has eaten 543 calories, whether it's healthy. 130 BPM, is it healthy? 38 Celsius, is it healthy? Show me that. If you are unable to show these judgments, then, well, I have to, as a user, then I have to judge whether my pet is healthy. So this is one of the fundamental mistakes that the designers do, not focusing on the problem that they need to solve here. And number two here, now everything in the design, every element, every pixel, every component needs to have a reason to be there. And those reasons, either it needs to be connected to a pain point, goal, or a need that the users are having, or it can be connected to a business objective that the business people want to achieve, or either it is satisfying a usability principle or a guideline or a psychology theory. There has to be a reason for these elements to exist in this screen. If you're unable to create this mapping between whatever the things that you have put on the screen as well as why it is there, then you will not be able to justify your design to anybody. Product, or when somebody asks why you put it here, what I have seen in most design is I just put it there, like, because I think it's nice. No, it won't happen like that. You need to clearly mention, you need to clearly justify and articulate why you have made that decision here. For example, now this particular thing which I wanted to show you, 323 meters away, why you have put this particular element here. If you look at this carefully, this is a costly feature, because the developers will have to calculate this all the time. Why? What problem it solves? It is not mentioned in the first three problems that they have mentioned, but if you make a good educated guess here, it could be the reason that owner needs to see where my pet is. It could be a pain point, but it's not mentioned here. But if we analyze it with the perspective that it is there to see where my pet is, does the owner always need to see where my pet is? I don't think so. Most of the cases, these pets are in their houses. And if you have a bigger garden or a bigger land, then you might need to see where my own is. In case if the pet is lost, then you might want to track the pet. So showing this calculation straight away looks nice, but it's a costly feature. You have not mapped, now listen carefully, you have not mapped these actual user scenarios, use cases. In certain terminology we call them use cases. You have not mapped these real use cases into the screens. Now when you want to track the pet, probably when it is lost, or whenever user feels that you need to track the user. So what you can put here is a little link. Track my pet, track where Bella is. That could be a little link. When you click on it, then only the calculation needs to be done. Otherwise it would be a very costly calculation that you do all the time, and it's unnecessary. These people are showing vet nearby. Now, how many hospitals are around us? Are we worrying about them? How many doctors are around us? Are we worrying about them? We are worried about them only when somebody is sick. So, if you try to map this real use case into the design here, what happens is, if my pet is not healthy, if any of these vitals are not okay, then the system needs to prompt that, okay, this is not right, something is wrong here, and these are the vets nearby that you can go and check your. In other times, it can be shown under a different menu item, but not on the front screen here. That is how a designer should think. Map these real scenarios, map these real use cases into the design is something that you have to do. And when you map these real use cases into the design, you can create a nice user journey. And when you have multiple user journeys, that is the solution that you are providing. And the visual interface that you see here, the user interface that you see here, is the visual representation of that user journey. That is what I wanted to show in this video. The biggest mistake that the designers would do, and often leads them to, certain frustrations, like my design is not approved and the client is, asking to do a hell of a lot of changes, and you're only focusing on the aesthetic. Think about the problem. Think about what you're trying to solve. Think about the real use cases and trying to map them into user journeys and then create interfaces. That is how the process should be.